My aunt texted, "Today is your sister's baby shower. You should join us." I was shocked no one had invited me, so I decided to surprise them with my kids. As soon as I reached their door, my mom opened it and said, "What are you doing here? We didn't invite you for a reason," while my aunt from behind shouted, "Come inside." As soon as I entered, my mother introduced me to everyone as the maid of her house, and that she had nowhere to go, so she decided to come here. Everyone got shocked while my sister confronted me and said, "Do not say anything. Don't you dare mess up my party. I don't want my in-laws to think you're my sister because you are not real family." I stayed quiet, took my kids, and left. What I did next left all of them pale. I'm Wendy, 34 years old, and I thought I knew what family meant until that Saturday afternoon in March. What happened that day changed everything, but more importantly, it showed me exactly who I really was and what I was capable of when pushed to my absolute breaking point. Let me start from the beginning so you understand just how twisted this situation really was. Growing up, I was the classic middle child in the Thompson family. My older sister, Veronica, was the golden child. Blonde, popular, and according to my mother, Joyce, destined for greatness. My younger brother, Michael, was the baby who could do no wrong. And then there was me, the one who apparently existed just to make the other two look better. The favoritism wasn't subtle. When Veronica wanted dance lessons, my parents found the money. When Michael needed a new laptop for school, they made it happen. When I asked for art supplies because I'd shown genuine talent in drawing, I was told we couldn't afford extras and that I should focus on more practical skills like cleaning and cooking. By the time I turned 18, I'd learned to stop asking for things. I worked 2 jobs through high school, saved every penny, and put myself through community college to become a dental hygienist. I met my husband Curtis when I was 25, and we built a good life together. We had 2 beautiful kids, Bethany, who's now 8, and little Caleb, who just turned 5. Curtis and I weren't wealthy, but we were comfortable. We owned our own home in a nice neighborhood about 40 minutes from where I grew up. The kids were happy and healthy, and I thought I'd finally found my place in the world, even if it wasn't with my birth family. But I never stopped trying with my family. I invited them to every birthday party, every school play, every milestone. I sent Christmas cards, remembered birthdays, and always showed up when they needed help. The responses were always lukewarm at best, but I told myself that was just how our family communicated. Veronica married her college boyfriend, Brad, 3 years ago, in what my mother called the wedding of the century. I wasn't asked to be a bridesmaid, despite Veronica having 6 girls stand up for her, including 2 cousins she barely spoke to. I was seated at table 9 with Curtis and the kids, right next to the kitchen doors, where the servers kept bumping into our chairs. But I smiled, gave a generous gift, and convinced myself that maybe Veronica just wanted to keep things simple with her wedding party. That's what I did. I made excuses for them because acknowledging the truth would have been too painful. When Veronica announced her pregnancy last fall, I was genuinely excited. I'd been hoping for years that becoming an aunt would give me a new way to connect with my family. I started knitting baby blankets, bought little outfits, and imagined all the ways I could be the fun aunt who spoiled her niece or nephew. The months went by, and I heard about the pregnancy updates through my aunt, Carol, Josie's sister, who lived 2 hours away, but somehow stayed more connected to family news than I did, despite my living only 30 minutes from everyone else. Carol would call me every few weeks with updates. Veronica's having a girl, Carol told me in January. They're going to name her Madison Rose. Isn't that precious? I was thrilled and immediately started planning what I could do to help. But as Veronica's due date approached, something strange started happening. The family conversations that Carol relayed to me began focusing less on the baby and more on all the people they were planning to exclude from various celebrations. Joyce says they're keeping the baby shower small. Carol mentioned during one of our calls in February, just close family and Veronica's closest friends. I didn't think much of it at first. Baby showers were often intimate affairs, and I figured I'd hear about it directly when the time came. But as March arrived and Veronica entered her 8th month, I still hadn't received an invitation or even heard any specific details about the shower. That's when I started to worry. I called my mother twice, leaving voicemails asking about the shower and whether I could help with anything. She never called back. I texted Veronica directly, congratulating her on the pregnancy and asking if there was anything she needed for the baby. She responded with a simple thanks and nothing else. The silence was starting to feel deliberate, but I couldn't bring myself to believe my own family would exclude me from something as important as Veronica's baby shower. There had to be an explanation. Then came that Saturday morning text from Aunt Carol that changed everything. "Today is your sister's baby shower. You should join us." I stared at my phone in complete shock. Today the baby shower was happening today, and not only had no one invited me, but I was finding out about it the morning of the event, from an aunt who lived 3 hours away. My hands were shaking as I called Carol immediately. "Carol, what do you mean the shower is today? I haven't heard anything about it." There was a long pause on the other end. "Oh, honey, I assumed you knew. It's at your mother's house starting at 2 o'clock. I just drove down this morning. I'm staying at the Hampton near the highway." My stomach dropped. "No one told me about it, Carol. No one invited me." Another pause, longer this time. "Well, that doesn't seem right. Maybe there was a miscommunication. You should definitely come, bring the kids. Everyone would love to see Bethany and Caleb." After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen staring at the wall, trying to process what was happening. My sister was having a baby shower at my mother's house, and I wasn't invited. Not only was I not invited, but the family had actively chosen not to tell me about it. Meanwhile, Carol, who lived 2 hours away and saw them maybe twice a year, had been invited and just assumed I'd know about it too. Curtis found me there 20 minutes later, still in my pajamas with my coffee growing cold. "Wendy, you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." I told him about Carol's text and phone call. I watched his expression change from confusion to anger as he processed what I was telling him. "Are you kidding me?" Curtis said, his voice rising. "They didn't invite you to your own sister's baby shower?" "Apparently not." I felt numb saying it out loud. "Well, that's it then. We're going." I looked at him in surprise. "Curtis, we can't just show up uninvited. Like hell we can't. You're her sister. You're the baby's aunt. If they wanted to exclude you, they should have had the decency to tell you directly, instead of letting you find out from Carol." He was pacing around our kitchen now. His face was filled with indignation. "We're getting dressed and we're going to that shower. End of discussion." Something about Curtis's certainty gave me strength. He was right. I was Veronica's sister, and I had every right to be there for this important moment. Maybe showing up would force whatever miscommunication or misunderstanding had happened out into the open so we could resolve it. I went upstairs and put on my nicest dress, a navy blue wrap dress that I bought for Veronica's wedding. I did my makeup carefully and styled my hair. If I was going to surprise them, I was going to look my best doing it. The kids were excited about the unexpected adventure. Bethany put on her favorite purple dress, and I helped Caleb into his little button-down shirt and khakis. They loved going to Grandma Joyce's house because she had a big backyard and usually kept cookies in her kitchen. "Are we going to see Aunt Veronica's baby bump?" Bethany asked as we drove toward my childhood home. "We're going to celebrate the baby that's coming soon," I told her, which seemed like the safest answer. The 30-minute drive felt both too long and too short. Part of me wanted to turn around and go home, but a bigger part of me needed to understand what was happening and why my family had chosen to exclude me from something so important. When we pulled into the driveway of my mother's house at exactly 2:30 p.m., I could see it was packed with cars. There had to be at least 20 vehicles lining the street and filling the driveway. This wasn't a small, intimate gathering Carol had described. This was a major celebration. My heart was pounding as we walked up to the front door. Bethany and Caleb flanked me, holding my hands and chattering excitedly about seeing their grandmother and aunt. I took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. The door opened, and there was my mother, Joyce. She was dressed elegantly in a coral-colored blouse and black slacks, her hair freshly done. For just a moment, her face showed genuine surprise at seeing us. "What are you doing here?" she said, her voice sharp. "We didn't invite you for a reason." The words hit me like a physical blow. Not "what a nice surprise," or "I thought Carol had told you," or even "there must have been a mix-up." Just cold, deliberate confirmation that my exclusion had been intentional. I heard Bethany make a small, confused sound beside me. Caleb pressed closer to my leg, sensing the tension even if he didn't understand it. Carol's voice called from somewhere behind my mother. "Come inside." I told her about the party. I thought she already knew. Joyce's jaw tightened, but she stepped back from the doorway. The tension between the sisters was immediately apparent. I hesitated for a moment, then walked into the house I'd grown up in, my children close beside me. The house was decorated beautifully for the shower. Pink and gold streamers hung from every doorway, and there were elegant floral arrangements on every surface. The living room was packed with women I recognized. Veronica's friends from college, neighbors from the old neighborhood, cousins from both sides of the family, and several women I didn't know who must have been Brad's relatives. As soon as we entered the living room, conversation started to quiet down. I could feel all eyes turning toward us, and the energy in the room shifted dramatically. That's when my mother did something that I still can't believe actually happened. "Everyone," Joyce announced in a clear, carrying voice. "This is Wendy. She's the maid of our house, and she had nowhere to go today, so she decided to come here." The room went completely silent. I felt like someone had dumped ice water over my head. My own mother, had just introduced me to a room full of people as her maid. I looked around at the shocked faces staring back at me. Some of these people had known me since I was a child. Others had met me at Veronica's wedding 3 years ago. They all knew I was Veronica's sister, Joyce's daughter, and my mother had just told them I was the help. After Mike's call, I felt a strange mix of sadness and hope. Sadness that it had taken this public confrontation for him to acknowledge what I'd experienced, but hope that maybe not all of my family relationships were beyond repair. Friday brought even more developments. The local television station ran their feature story during the evening news. They interviewed me about the awareness campaign, showed footage from our planning meetings, and included comments from Margaret Hawthorne and the school principal about the program's importance. But they also read excerpts from the newspaper article, including the quotes from Joyce and Veronica. The news anchor concluded the segment by noting that the awareness campaign had grown out of personal experience with family emotional abuse and had already received significant community support. The story was picked up by the regional news network and shared on social media throughout the weekend. Saturday morning brought the community awareness event that we'd been planning. I expected maybe 50 people to attend based on our initial planning, but over 200 community members showed up. The event was held at the community center, and we had informational booths, expert speakers on family dynamics and child development, and resource tables for families needing support. But the most powerful part of the event was the personal stories. Dozens of people approached me throughout the day to share their own experiences with family exclusion, favoritism, and emotional abuse. Many of them thanked me for giving them language to describe what they'd experienced and for showing them that they weren't alone. Margaret Hawthorne gave a brief speech about the importance of community support for families in crisis. Dr. Hughes attended with his wife Judith, who covered the event for the newspaper follow-up story. But the moment that made everything worth it was when Bethany and Caleb saw me being interviewed by the television reporter. I watched them standing with Curtis, their faces full of pride as they saw their mom being treated as someone important and valuable. "Daddy," I heard Bethany whisper, "everyone thinks Mommy is really smart." That evening, as we celebrated the event's success with pizza and ice cream, I got a text message from an unknown number. "Wendy, this is Margaret's assistant. She wanted me to let you know that the awareness program was so successful that the State Family Services Department wants to expand it statewide. They're offering funding for you to coordinate the expansion. Margaret thinks you should consider it." I stared at the message in amazement. What had started as a response to personal humiliation had become a genuine opportunity to create meaningful change and advance my own career in ways I'd never imagined. But the most satisfying moment came on Sunday evening. I was putting the kids to bed when Bethany asked, "Mommy, are we going to see Grandma Joycey and Veronica again?" I thought about how to answer that honestly without burdening her with adult complications. "I don't know, sweetie. Sometimes adults don't treat each other very nicely. And when that happens, we have to decide whether we want to keep spending time with those people. Like when Madison Chen was mean to me at school and you said I didn't have to be her friend anymore." "Exactly like that," Bethany nodded seriously. "I think you made the right choice. Mommy, family should be nice to each other." Out of the mouths of babes. As I write this, it's been 3 months since the baby shower incident. Veronica had her baby, a healthy girl they named Madison Rose, just as Carol had told me months earlier. I learned about the birth through a mutual acquaintance, not from anyone in the family. I haven't spoken to Joyce, Veronica, or any of the other family members since that Saturday in March. Carol called a few times in the weeks following the newspaper article, trying to get me to reach out and heal the family, but I eventually stopped taking her calls too. The community awareness program has been incredibly successful. We've received state funding to expand it to 12 other counties, and I've been offered a full-time position coordinating the statewide initiative. The salary is nearly double what I was making at the dental practice, and the work feels meaningful in ways I'd never experienced before. More importantly, the program has connected me with hundreds of other people who've experienced family emotional abuse. Through our support groups and community workshops, I've built genuine relationships with people who understand what it means to be scapegoated, excluded, and treated as less than family. Bethany and Caleb have thrived in this new chapter of our lives. They've seen their mother stand up for herself and create something positive from a painful experience. They've learned that family isn't just about blood relations, but about people who treat you with love and respect. Curtis and I have grown closer through this experience. He saw me at my most vulnerable and helped me find my strength. He supported my decision to go public with my story and has been my biggest champion as I've built this new career helping other families. I don't regret what I did. I don't regret publishing that article, organizing the awareness campaign, or refusing to reconcile with people who've shown me repeatedly that they don't value me. Some people might say, I went too far. That family is family, and I should have found a way to work things out privately. But those people don't understand what it's like to spend 32 years being treated as less than, to have your own mother call you the maid, and your own sister say you're not real family. The truth is, I didn't destroy my family relationships. My family destroyed those relationships years ago through their consistent pattern of exclusion, favoritism, and emotional abuse. I simply refused to continue enabling their behavior by staying silent about it. What I did instead was build something positive from the ashes of that pain. I created awareness, helped other families, advanced my own career, and showed my children what it looks like to stand up for yourself with dignity and purpose. Joyce, Veronica, and the others have had to live with the public knowledge of how they treated me. Their friends, neighbors, and professional colleagues have all seen exactly who they really are behind their perfect facades. Brad's law firm continues to donate to our awareness program, which I find rather ironic, given that his wife is the reason the program exists in the first place. I heard through the grapevine that Veronica struggles with postpartum depression and has been having difficulty with some of her friendships. Apparently, several people who attended the baby shower have distanced themselves from her after reading about what really happened that day. Joyce had to step down from 2 of her community organizations after other board members expressed concern about her judgment and character. Do I feel sorry for them? Not really. They made choices about how to treat me, and now they're experiencing the natural consequences of those choices. They could have included me, respected me, and treated me as family. Instead, they chose cruelty, exclusion, and public humiliation. They gambled that I would continue to accept their treatment silently, just as I had for decades. They lost that gamble. But here's the thing that really matters. I didn't do what I did to hurt them. I did it to build something better, not just for myself, but for other people facing similar situations. The awareness program has helped hundreds of families recognize and address emotional abuse patterns. Children are learning about healthy family dynamics in school. Parents are getting resources to break cycles of favoritism and exclusion. Started as a moment of devastating personal humiliation, became the catalyst for meaningful community change and personal transformation. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying the people who hurt you. Sometimes it's about using their cruelty as fuel to build something so much better than what they took from you that their actions become irrelevant to your story. My family thought they could dismiss me, humiliate me, and keep me in the shadows while they celebrated their perfect lives. Instead, they gave me the motivation to step into the light, and become someone far more successful, respected, and genuinely loved than they ever thought possible. That's what left them pale. Not anger, not retaliation, but the realization that in trying to diminish me, they had created something in someone they could never control or dismiss again. And honestly, that feels pretty amazing.